Could somebody please make it make sense?
Hi everybody, welcome to A Pop of Culture. I am your host, the Esoteric and Facetious, and this is A Pop of Culture, which is a video essay podcast where I speak on pop culture, social justice, and the human experience from a Black, bisexual, millennial perspective. Today's topic is going to be the tactic, and this may be a little controversial, but everything I say on this channel, as I said, should be taken with a grain of salt, as I'm simply a college student with access to a recording device and the internet. But if I am saying something, it's because I've seen this online. I've observed it in real life. I've read on it, different things of that sort. And I legitimately feel like this is an actual thing. With that being said, I'm going to shout out my cover channel. My cover channel is A Pop of Culture Sings. It is going to be linked in the card's description and in my channel section. It's the only channel listed in that section at this time. And on that channel, I cover throwback R&B, contemporary R&B, whatever I'm feeling, whatever you're feeling. So, definitely check that out if you want to hear me do some singing and or singing. With that being said, we're going to get into the topic of this video. So the topic of this video is what I would like to call the tactic. And what do I mean by the tactic? So this is something I've seen with people who are what I would call fake woke. And what I would mean by, what I would consider people who are woke or, socially aware, socially conscious people would be people who are, want to be a part of the progression of society in the right direction. What I mean by that is, dismantling white supremacy and dismantling oppressive systems of power that advantage certain populations and groups of people and disadvantage other populations and groups of people. So people who are on that train, that's what I'm talking about. These are the people, I guess, leftist people, progressive people, whatever you want to call them. I am somebody who wants to be a part of that process. But one of the things I will say is there's some people who I feel like come off to me as wolves in sheep's clothing, and actually I feel do more harm. And that's what the way they do this harm is through what I call #the tactic. And what is the tactic? The tactic is something that I saw. If you haven't seen my most recent problematic tweets, it's the problematic tweets number 2. In this episode, I talk on how there's this person who tweeted about James Charles, the whole James Charles Alicia Keys situation, and how they tried to say, just admit you don't like Black or POC artists getting more attention than you, which was not the case. If you want to check out my thoughts and commentary, then go to that video and watch it. I'll leave it in the cards and in the description below. But one of the things that I want to say is racism exists, homophobia exists, transphobia exists, and these things can exist on a spectrum. So racism doesn't have to mean someone, is, beating you down and you rotten N-word, you'll never work in this town ever. That's not the only form of racism. Racism can exist in microaggressions and in more covert ways. And I also feel like it more likely is going to exist in those ways because it's less practical for people to expect to be employed while doing the stuff that is bad PR for the company. What I want to speak on is basically this kind of black and white thinking, this either you're for us or against us, or if you say something I don't like, then you're canceled, you're problematic, this cancel culture type of stuff that I've seen from some people within the left. And it's not everybody, but there are some people. And what I see is this just admit you don't like Black or POC artists. It's this idea of, just admit you're racist, just admit that you're this, just admit that you're racist, just admit that you're transphobic, just admit that you're homophobic. And the problem I see with these types of tweets is it's often times towards people who haven't necessarily done anything explicitly racist. Because my thing is logically speaking, and if you had evidence that somebody was racist, you would post that evidence and say you would post that evidence and say, hey, didn't you do this? Hey, I would say if they haven't owned up to it, or if they're trying to act like they haven't had a racist past, you could point to something and say, hey, but look at that. That's a time where you were racist or bigoted. But one of the things that I feel like I see a lot more now is, whereas before, and I feel like just in some, it just depends on the approach. I feel like some people's approach is going to be, I'm going to give the receipts, I'm going to give the evidence about, about how you were homophobic or how you were transphobic or how you were bigoted. I'm going to find the receipts and I'm going to give them to you. But from what it appears to me now, it's not even about the receipts anymore. And that's one of the things I will say, like, and I know I'm going to do a video about Twitter and why I don't like Twitter, but basically what I will have to say about one of the reasons why I don't like Twitter now is, honestly, I feel like 180 characters doesn't give you a lot of space to have nuanced dialogue where you can have a conversation with somebody and, really have good points and things of that sort. So one of the issues I have with Twitter is it's not about being right. It's about going viral. And in the times that we're in, following the murders of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, amongst others, in a time where shows like Pose are highlighting the experiences of trans women of color and Black and brown queer folks, there is a lot of this conversation around being more tolerant, accepting, and having representation for people, which I think is great. But the issue that I see has been people taking advantage of this more woke environment that we're in. And of course, there's always going to be people who have, always been for the cause, who've been doing this since 1980, 1960, who've been fighting the fight. But as more people, are becoming more and more aware and, trying to make a stand and, be more, inclusive and, all those things, I feel like some people are abusing that. And they're abusing that to go viral because, what they'll say is, like things like, just admit you're transphobic, just admit you're homophobic. And instead of going into detail about how someone's homophobic or racist or whatever, and, providing some like deep analysis of why things someone did may have been problematic, it's not about that, because that doesn't make you go viral. Because doing this long essay, this long, long thought out thing about why somebody's problematic, potentially a thread could go viral, potentially a thread could go well. But I think the thing that I've realized is, in this time and space, there are people who obviously are problematic who are being held accountable. But the thing that I've also realized is, if you want to go viral, you can kind of make these pithy, strong-worded tweets that give you social justice light teas. And what I mean by that is, it'll say the words, it'll say things like homophobic, racist, colorist, bigoted. It'll say all the words and it'll say all the language, but the problem is the evidence won't be there. So they may, you could, so for example, let's say there's a lighter skinned influencer, especially someone that the tweet author doesn't like. Then let's say they tweet a picture of them and some of their other lighter skinned friends or something. Then they'll say, I'm over these light skins who are colorist AF and who don't want to address it or something like that. And then that may get 500 likes, 500 retweets, whatever, may go viral. And the thing that I've noticed with this type of behavior is, I'm not saying that these big word issues don't exist, but the thing that I guess I'm realizing is these are big topics with implications and that have a real life impact and effect on people. And I think the thing that I've realized is a lot of people are being very clumsy and reckless when they apply these labels to people, because in my opinion, it doesn't matter to them if this person is racist, bigoted, transphobic, homophobic. It matters to them that they are getting viral tweets, that they are going viral. So there are a lot of people who are hurting. There are a lot of people who feel upset about the way the society is and the way that these systems of power are oppressing them, right? So what these Twitter accounts end up doing is they market off this emotion, and they'll say, and they don't have to have evidence. They don't even honestly have to have that much education in these topics. But what they do have, all they have to do is know how to rile people up. They need to just know, what can I say? What can I tweet? What can I say in 180 characters that is going to get people, that's going to make people feel something, that's going to make people feel, because that's the thing I've realized. A lot of these influencers, even some of these celebrities and stuff, they have some power and some influence, but to be real, I feel like a lot of these influencers and YouTubers and Instagram influencers and baddies and whoever, being very real, they may have a nice coin to their name. They may be living with luxuries that, the average person doesn't have. But being very real, in terms of real power, meaning world-changing power, big decision power, a lot of these people don't have that much influence or power. Maybe more power than you and I, but not big change the world, I snap my finger and it happens types of power. Hi, this is me in post. I just wanted to clarify my statement because obviously, you know, certain people do have huge audiences. Like James Charles has 20 million YouTube subscribers plus. You know, people like Ariana Grande and Kim Kardashian have over 100 million followers. So my thing is, clearly they do have a big influence, but there's a difference in like having the influence to, you know, get someone to buy an eyeshadow palette or buy a record or tune into a TV show, and like the influence to, you know, like that, what's it called, that Jonestown influence, that, you know, pack everything up, you're going with me, or, you know, we're going to, you know, slaughter a people. Like that's not the type of power that these influencers have. But when we are, you know, going throughout our day, and, you know, we're feeling oppressed and we're feeling, you know, drained and tired and stuff, it can feel good for us, and I mean us meaning average, everyday, normal people, to kind of look and see, oh, look at what they said about James Charles. Look at what they said about this person. I'm not saying that I defend everything he's doing. He's just an example. But, like, just, you know, like public figures and stuff, and saying you're problematic towards POC, and you're this and you're that. And I'm not talking about people who've actually done or said things that have been problematic. But I think the thing that I'm saying is, what I see on Twitter a lot is a lot of accusations that are baseless, where people will say, oh, you're colorist, you're this, you're that. And I truly believe it's for the engagement, because if you truly felt like this person was such a problem and they were such a threat, then you'd explain why they were a threat. You'd explain why, but it doesn't matter, because what you want is engagement. Like what I said in one of my other videos is, you know, y'all don't want justice, you want a show. I think a lot of us, and I'm really going there today, I think a lot of us want somebody to be mad at, because you can't be mad necessarily at racism. Like, you can be mad at racism, but like, that's not a person. You can't tweet at racism and, you know, at racism, I can't stand you. You can't do that. You can tweet at insert celebrity, insert this person. And I feel like a lot of people, and you know, the Kardashians, you know, they're not beyond reproach or whatever, but I honestly feel like a lot of people, namely Black people, I feel like have a lot of this hatred towards the Kardashians, but I feel like a lot of that hatred is misplaced anger that should be put towards, you know, systems of power and oppression. Because my thing is, I do think the Kardashians have a lot of power and influence, but like in the big scheme of things, I don't think that reality television stars who are also, I mean, even though they do have money and that money can have an impact, I don't think they have that snap my fingers type of power where I snap my fingers and, you know, situations, countries, worlds, populations are affected. I don't think they have that type of power. So I guess for me, the thing that I've noticed is online is a lot of people use what I call the tactic, and the tactic is calling people certain words: racist, homophobic, bigoted, transphobic, and without substantial evidence to defend that behavior, to garner likes, retweets, follows, and shares that you can turn into a following, that you can turn into sponsorships and things of that sort, which is funny because it's like you're so progressive, but then you're wanting to turn this audience into, you know, into some dollars. And I'm not saying you can't monetize your audience and, you know, make a living off of the content that you're creating, but I also feel like there is something questionable about being so anti, you know, other people making money and other people doing businesses and stuff for you to turn around and do the same thing. As I have said before on this channel, I do think that racism is a spectrum, and I think that people can do a variety of things that can be labeled racist. But I also am not a fan of this idea of just calling people racist because you don't like them. Like, that's the thing that I will see. Like, I would just say people who are just, like, I think a lot of people, when there's somebody who's white on YouTube who is popular that they don't like, and I'm not talking about people who've had racist incidents and done things that are racist, but I've noticed that a lot of people who don't, when there's someone that you don't like on YouTube who's white and popular and doing well, you kind of, a lot of people I feel like use racist as an adult. What I mean to say is, a lot of times people will add on, oh my gosh, this person is so annoying, they're this, and they're racist. But then the second somebody asks them, oh, how is this person racist? It's crickets, because the person thought that I could, you know, use this tweet to bash this person, and, you know, that I could just throw racism in there as if it's, you know, some sprinkling of some type of topping. Like, you know, when you're at Olive Garden, they'll ask you, hey, do you want some more cheese? And then they'll just say, and you'll say, yeah, Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I feel like that's what a lot of people do with racist. And that's not to say that racist people don't exist. They do. There are several people who are racist who have huge followings online. But the thing I see online a lot of times is this person's popular, this person has a huge following. I don't like that this person is popular and has a large following, and they're white, they're racist. And my issue with this is you can have critiques of people, but that doesn't necessarily mean make things up. Have they said anything racist? No. Have they done anything racist? No. Or have they done anything explicitly? Like, I think there's sometimes people have done things that are racially insensitive. You know, like, for example, the situation with Charli D'Amelio. I have seen so many people, and I'm not someone who follows TikTok like that, but I've seen so many people who will call Charli D'Amelio racist and, you know, she's the worst and this, that, and the third. And my thing is, I don't, like I've said before, I don't think that everyone is just jealous of people, but I do think that a lot of people might be jealous because it's like, sis is, as far as I know, 16 years old, and, you know, she's got millions and millions and millions of followers, and she's, you know, the it girl now. So I feel like there are some people out there whose self-esteem is so low and effed up that they have to call somebody racist in order to justify, like, of course they have to be bad. Like, they can't just be someone who's found some success. They can't. They have to be racist. So Charli D'Amelio did a dance that, you know, was the Renegade dance that was started by a Black content creator. And, you know, she has a huge following and audience. So a lot of people felt like Charli wasn't giving the person credit. Eventually, Charli did give the person credit. But I think one of the things I saw was a lot of people, because Charli's the girl to hate. She's the it girl. So I feel like a lot of people were quick to jump on the she's racist thing. There are people who are racist, and I'm all for calling those people out. But I feel like a lot of people use this tactic, A, like I said, to get a clout and a following, but also just to take away from somebody's actual success and hard work. Because when you can say, well, actually, they're just homophobic, they're actually transphobic, it's like now people are just going to question everything that they've thought about that person. I've seen people in, like, YouTube comment sections and stuff, and, like, somebody may say, oh, I love XYZ YouTuber, and then somebody will be like, well, actually, da-da-da, and then people will, like, just question about, oh my gosh, you know, well, oh, I didn't even know that. And my thing is, sometimes, like I said, sometimes there's an actual thing that has happened that they're bringing light to, and it's like, yes, tell the truth, you know. But the issue I'll see sometimes is, you know, sometimes people just say, oh, they're homophobic or racist or whatever. And my thing is, if you have the nerve to call somebody that, then I think you need to give some evidence, because that's my thing. Like, I don't play around with words like racist. I don't like I may say that somebody's actions were racist or what somebody said was racist, but I personally am not going to label somebody a racist until I see a history of actions and a lack of, you know, accountability and trying to do better. But I just, for me, like, I think that a lot of the people who call people racist and homophobic and transphobic unfairly, what I would feel is unfairly, are able to do so because within, I feel like, a lot of leftist or progressive leaning spaces, I feel like there's a lot of this, you know, trusting people and trusting what people say. And I feel like a lot of people, like I said, are taking advantage of that, where, you know, oh, you say that so-and-so is problematic. Oh, like, you know, oh my gosh, I just got to cancel them. I'll stop. Like, oh, I was going to buy their this or I was going to buy their that, but, oh, you're, like, I feel like a lot of them, people are taking them, because I feel like a lot of people who are leftist or progressive are people who have been damaged and who have trauma because of oppressive systems of power. So I feel like a lot of people are kind of giving them the okie doke and saying, you know, okay, well, you know, I'll just call this person racist, and then, you know, I'm going to get 500 likes, 500 followers, and, you know, keep going on the racist train. And it's not going to matter if I'm damaging other people's brands, if I'm, you know, if I'm telling lies, because in my opinion, with a lot of these people, it was never actually about spreading awareness. Some of these people, maybe it was about spreading awareness, but I feel like with a lot of these people, it was about getting an emotional response out of an audience. And that's exactly what they did. So thanks so much for watching. Do y'all buy into the tactic? Do y'all think that people do this? Do you think people manipulate people with, you know, this pro-woke stuff to monetize these people and to, you know, build brands and audiences? What do y'all think? Because I definitely think that it's something I've seen online in these YouTube streets and on these Twitter streets what happened. Thanks so much for watching. Share your thoughts below. Like this video if you like this video. If you made it to this point in the video, comment a thumbs up emoji below, or still here if you are still here. Subscribe if you want to see more, and make sure to hit that bell so you're the first to know when I upload new content. I upload new content every week. And if you're enjoying yourself, and why wouldn't you be enjoying yourself, To the left, there's a playlist of all my video essay podcasts. I have 24 in counting. In the center, there's a button to subscribe if you just haven't had a chance to subscribe and you would like to. And to the right is a playlist of all of my covers and parodies. So if you are wanting to check those out, feel free to do so. And if you want to support me, if you want to support the show, first and foremost, a non-financial way you can support is just through sharing this video. I can make the thumbnails, I can, make the titles, I can do the tags and do keyword research. One of the best ways that I can grow my brand is through y'all sharing this content with other people who like this type of content, because I nor you can control the algorithm, but I can control the quality of the content I make, and y'all can, if you enjoy the content, share with people who can like it, so that way, if y'all are feeling it, it's getting put out there, whether, the algorithm favors it or not. Somebody's gonna see it because you resonated with it and you resonated with me, and now you're sharing it with other people. So if that's a non-financial way you can support the channel, and if you do want to support this channel financially, my Cash App is linked in the description of this video. I'm trying to, upgrade my production quality and just, keep growing and expanding and, doing bigger and better. So if you want to help and support that vision, feel free to do so. All those who donate to the channel will be featured in the credits of all of my videos on both of my channels. Thanks so much for watching. Love you all. Bye-bye. See you next time.